Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today I just want to give you a really quick update on some stuff that's going on the channel, some exciting new things that hopefully you'll look forward to if you're a fan of the channel. So I'm going to talk about some Total War changes, and then the inclusion of Magic the Gathering in the lineup, and then some League of Legends and Final Fantasy XIV changes as well. As always, if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out a ton on the channel. Come check us out on Twitch. Usually we're streaming from about midnight until 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The stream hours might change. We'll talk about that here in a second, but it'll be around the same time. So be sure to come by, hang out with us. It's a very friendly, chill community. We'd love to have you. If you have an extra Twitch Prime laying around, and you come by and you enjoy it, and you're around a lot, consider throwing that in there. And we're constantly going to be adding more guides and new content as well to YouTube, so be sure to follow that. And follow me on Twitter, the Strategy Professor at the Strat Prof. I only tweet on new content releases typically, or if my internet's down. Unfortunately, it was last night. They were doing some maintenance. You can kind of figure out what's going on there. But I don't tweet random political things or random food that I'm eating or anything like that. It's all just very useful, utilitarian stuff for the channel. So if you want an additional way to get the announcements and kind of keep up with what's going on the channel, Twitter is a good way to do that, just in case you don't get those notifications on YouTube or Twitch, which is becoming more and more common, unfortunately. Okay, but let's get in here. So the first big cool news that I have is I got a partnership with CA. I applied for that. I was thinking of applying, I think, at a time in the past, and I don't remember if I never did it or if I got rejected, but either way, I got the partnership this time. So what that means is that I should have access to some of the new releases like a lot of the other big YouTubers. Now, I don't have an exact timeline on that, but I should have it, maybe a month or so before the release of Warhammer 3, so that hopefully will give me, enough time to kind of play through it. And I don't know what my limited capacity is going to be or what the NDA is, what I can, explain to you guys, but I'm going to do everything I can to give you guys access to that early content as much as I can, give you some ideas so that when you're ready to go, when you sign in and do your first campaign, you're already going to have some cool stuff to look forward to that you can work on. So I'm excited about that. That's fun. That's really my first partnership and early access with a company, so that's really cool. I tried the League partnership thing, but they have not allowed new applicants for that, at least not through their website for years, like 3 years. They closed down on that like a month in or something, and I just didn't get in on that boat. So that was kind of a bummer, although there's really not that many perks. There are some for some of the really big timers, but anyways, this should be cool. And I'm gonna do, like I said, I don't know the exact timeline, but I'm gonna do everything I can to give you some cool, fun content as early as possible. I'm going to do guides for each new faction, so I'm going to try to do like one per day. If I have enough information before release, I'll try to do the guides before release if I have a chance to kind of play them and test them out. But if it's a very limited build and I'm not able to fully test stuff, if I only get like the first 10 turns or something, then I might wait a little bit on the guides. But they will be out. It'll be fast, close to release. And then, of course, we're going to be doing tons and tons of legendary playthroughs. I know I've already got one donation. Sorry, I'm blanking on the name right now, but I really appreciate it. But if anyone else, wants to donate for a playthrough, it's just $3 an hour. I'm working for like a fifth of minimum wage or something in a lot of places these days. But obviously, I enjoy doing it too, so I don't want to charge too much. But if you want that personalized kind of content, if you have a favorite, faction that you want to see early, just email and let me know so that I can tell you kind of what the wait list looks like. But be sure to check that out. And I don't know which faction the donor wanted me to do. I think he said that he was just going to wait and kind of see what information came out and then let me know. I'll tell you and I don't know all the details of the factions, but the ones that look most interesting to me so far are Nurgle and Zinch. But I know people want non-chaos factions as well. But those, just from what I've seen, seem to be some of the more unique mechanic factions out there. But frankly, they all look really good. I think they're all going to be a lot of fun to play through. So it looks like they've done a very good job with it, just from, once again, observing other people showing some content and talking about it. But once I dig in there and get my own content, I can give you a more informed opinion. Okay, but I'm sure it'll be awesome. And then there's a chance that I might be able to stream Total War like once a week. I know people have liked this. I don't know if I can do it every day to stream my campaigns. It's possible. Some of it depends on what's going to happen with my dissertation. If I actually do try to go through and finish it, my time's running out. If they tell me, no, you're done, you're out, then I will probably be able to devote more time to the channel and the stream. So we'll just kind of play it by ear and see how that happens. My wife's also having our second kid here in the next few weeks, so we'll see what the timeline looks like there. But I should still be able to stream my typical hours, I believe. Although there might be an occasional like break in the stream if I have to like go give the baby a bottle or change a diaper or something for 10 minutes, then we'll just have to play through that. But anyways, lots of new Total War stuff coming up. And as far as what's going on right now, I know a lot of people have enjoyed this Dwarf campaign. Sorry I haven't released an episode in a few days. I kind of ran out of episodes, and I had a ton of student conferences near the end of this week. But my semester is pretty much over at this point, so I should be able to resume those episodes. And then I've got an Isabella von Karstein, vanilla Isabella campaign that I'll start releasing tomorrow. And then I think there are a few more episodes on the Skaven campaign that I need to finish up as well. So I'll have a bunch of that coming out. So we're going to continue to do episodes on Warhammer. I want to try to do at least one episode per day, get back to that routine. And then when the new stuff comes out, we'll do at least one episode per day, but probably multiple per day for the first few weeks at least. Okay. Other big or interesting news is I'm going to start covering Magic the Gathering as well. If you're into that game. If you're not into the game, will release a guide for the channel that tries to explain some of the basics. It is a pretty complex game. I'm sure a lot of people who, watch my Total War content or my League content have probably heard of this game. It's very similar like Hearthstone if you've ever played that, but much more complex, I believe. I've never played a ton of Hearthstone. I've watched some of it. I watched a video about it. So I had thought about covering Hearthstone a few years ago, but I decided ultimately not to. It's really good if you like strategic things and making, decisions and trying to solve puzzles and things like that. Magic the Gathering's fantastic. And so we're gonna be doing Magic the Gathering online using the modern format, which uses a lot of older cards, not the oldest ones, not Legacy, but kind of that mid-range. And I personally think it's the most balanced format. I will make a video about that eventually. But I just really like the different variety there, and I think it'll make for a really fun experience for people to watch, and if you want to play the game, to try to get into it as well. And what I would like to do, and I think I can probably stream this, we'll see, just depending on how many people want to watch it, but my general vibe is that there were quite a few people in the chat that at least were conversational in Magic and were kind of interested in me talking about it a little bit, so we might try to do that for like a league before League of Legends. So what a league is it's usually like a 5-round league, and I'm not sure how long those take. I imagine maybe 2.5 hours or something. So I don't know if we can get a whole league in before then. We'll have to see, but it kind of depends on how you do as well. But it's basically a 5-round tournament versus other people, and you can actually win real money equivalents when you play this game. So it does cost money to get into the tournaments, but then you can win money from playing in the tournaments as well. So it's really hard to make like a full living off of just the tournaments, just because of the nature of the game and how balanced it is in Modern. You're not going to see a ton of people going 5-0 in every single tournament, which is really what you'd have to do to get even a reasonable wage, at least in the US. I've heard in some other countries, like Brazil, I read an article on a streamer in Brazil who made a living just playing Magic the Gathering online, where there are different standards of living around the world. You might be able to. So if you're an international viewer and you enjoy it, you might be able to make a living off of it if you get really good at it. But in America and in sort of a lot of the more expensive European countries, you probably can't. But it's still really, really fun. And it's cool that there is some money on the line as well, which keeps it interesting. But anyways, so we're going to be covering that. And I'll be doing a ton of videos, just explaining different decks that I do that are interesting. I'll probably try to upload some VODs of the streams, and then the streams themselves, if people want to watch those. So, and just a little bit of background on me, if you're wondering why this is like random. That Magic is actually how I met Jason, the guy that I duo with, who plays Azir. If you watch my League of Legends content, I actually went to a card shop when I was in Ohio, and he and some of his friends were in that card shop, and that's how I met them and hung out and had a lot of fun. We went over to one of the guys' houses every weekend for a little bit there, maybe half a year or so, that I was hanging out with them. And we just play League of Legends, play some Magic. and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a really good communal thing. If you go to a local card shop, if you learn how to play the game and you want to go to a local card shop and play, then you can. It's also, I think, interesting online. You don't get the communal aspect, but you can kind of play it whenever you want in like serious, tournaments. So it's a good mix to have both, I think. But that's just my background on it. I played it then, and way back in the day, in the late 90s, I was actually pretty good, if I say so myself. When I was a teenager, I did go to one Pro Tour 99, which was a really fun experience. But then my local card shop closed down, and there just wasn't another one in town. And I got a job at McDonald's, like my junior year in high school, and I was just, had this girlfriend that was taking up a bunch of time. There was just a bunch of stuff going on in my life, and I just had to put the cards on hold. And then I thought that, I just never really checked in on the game again. I thought it was pretty much over just because my card shop was over in town. It just felt over for, like, my scene. Like, none of my friends were playing anymore and all that stuff. But then it was just like 14 years later, I was walking around a mall and I saw a big tournament, and I started looking at it and got back into it again. And that's where I met Jason and his friends, going back. And then I played it for a couple of years, but then I got super busy and kind of got out of it again. So I'm going to try to get back in, and hopefully being able to make content with it and do it online will keep it interesting. So I've always loved the game. It's just been a matter of, for me, trying to find the time to go out to a card shop to be able to dedicate, a specific time slot, right, where I'm going to go to the card shop at like 6, and then I'm going to be able to stay there from 6 till 11 or something, doing this tournament, hanging out with people and stuff like that, which can still be doable. But as you're kind of doing adulting, especially with my daughter and stuff like that, it would be challenging to do it. If it was just once a week, I could probably do it, but I don't know if I would want to drop the time and money invested in it if I could just do it once a week and that's it. So I don't know. It can take quite a bit of time to play it a lot, and it can cost a decent chunk of money. I'll make a video about that and talk more, but there are ways that you can make it more affordable. There's a card rental service you can do online, which is another fantastic thing. A lot of popular decks in Modern, you can just rent them for like $10 a week or something. And like I said, you can make money off of these tournaments too. So if you just win, or not even win, if you just do okay, if you go 3-2 on a few tournaments, throughout the week, then that would pay for your card rental fee. So there's a lot of more affordable ways to get into the game than there used to be. For people that, have maybe heard that it's expensive, and it is. If you buy the cards in paper, it can be very expensive for a hobby. But they are collectible. They can go up in value. So it's kind of like an investment that you can play with. It's like almost like stocks that you can play with. Or I guess it'd be closer to like Bitcoin that you can play with, right? It's like an intellectual property kind of thing. But anyways, let's move on. I don't want this video to be too long, but I am going to be doing, like I said, a lot of Magic coverage. It's not going to replace League. It's not going to replace Total War. I'm going to try to do it alongside those and just figure out what you guys want, what you're watching, what you're commenting on, what people are interested in. Obviously, we already have a community built up for Total War. We already have a community with League. We're just going to see where Magic fits into that ecosystem. And if there's enough interest in it, then we'll, continue to do more and more. So we'll budget our time according to what y'all are interested in, because I always want to, give you guys the best experience that I can, show you what you want to see, give you the kind of experience that you want. Okay, as far as the League, it is the preseason for League right now, and we have, I did do one video about the new items. I did a video about kind of off-meta wacky supports that I thought could be viable. A lot of those have not turned out to be the case, but it was fun to explore that and to try it out for a few weeks. We're just going to keep doing the same League stuff for the most part. We'll be streaming it, like I said, from about 12 till 3 every day. I'm going to try to expand and give you more tier list. That's something that a lot of people voice an interest in. So we're obviously going to do support every patch, but I'm going to try to do ADC, jungle, mid, and top, and see if I can get those tier lists to 30 minutes or less. This time I didn't do mid or top, but I did do jungle, ADC, and support. I just had a bunch of school stuff. So now that school's over, hopefully I can give you at least one per role. And then, especially once the new season drops, I'm going to do some updated champion guides. I have a ton of guides on the channel, but frankly, some of them are pretty old at this point, especially with all the changes there have been to items and runes in the last couple of years. It's probably about time to do some updates. So I'll do some updated champion guides for you, especially for the ones that I play a lot on stream. But I'll even try to, tailor it to different things that are in the meta that are good. Support guides. I can still try to do other guides, but obviously it's not my expertise. I'd have to do a lot of research for that. So it's possible I do other guides. You can always donate if you want me to do a guide for your favorite champion. I'll look it up, research it, do the best that I can. But I can definitely do support guides, especially supports that I play and or play against pretty often. I feel pretty comfortable I could do guides on those. And then, the ultimate goal is to try to give you the stream every day, but also one 15 to 30 minute video per day. Just something you can look into, where I look at, it's either a guide or maybe it's some interesting build that someone talks about on the stream. I could go look it up and give my commentary on it, or just something else that I come across that seems interesting. So I'll try to do just kind of a daily video just to give you something to check out, on lunch break or whatever, if you just want a quick little something to look at. And then finally, I will be doing some Final Fantasy XIV. I know we have several people on the channel that are interested in that. I know there are definitely 2 hardcore fans that are always coming in and telling me to do some Final Fantasy XIV, and I know we have some other people that enjoyed playing it on the channel. So I'm gonna try to do a playthrough of that. I really have enjoyed it. I just put it on hold for a little bit. I've been playing it behind the scenes quite a bit. I'm in Stormblood right now, which is the 3rd expansion. It does take a very long time to go through. I just wasn't really sure, as I didn't know what was going on in the beginning, if people would want to watch the entire thing, if there'd be an audience for that, because it would be a playlist of 400 episodes or something on the channel, because the story is very expansive. So we'll see how it goes. And then ultimately I would like to do 1 raid per week, healing probably with Astrologian, but we'll see if people want to see that stream or not. I did a World of Warcraft stream with Burning Crusade, and the numbers were always pretty low. I was trying it out before League. I would just do a stream of WoW, and it's one of those things where we had people come in that just like to talk and hang out in general, but the numbers were always significantly lower. And I think just the nature of MMOs in general, it makes it very difficult. I feel like there are the mega streamers, right? There's the Asmongold's, and there are a few that are really big. But it just seems to me just the nature of the game makes it very difficult for something that people really want to watch, unless you're very into the game, or unless it's played at an extremely high level, if it's people racing for world first or something like that. Because a lot of it is just, it's grindy, a lot of the content is, you're killing the same types of things over again. Now, Final Fantasy XIV does have a good story to go with it, so it's more like watching a single-player game and sort of a playthrough of that occasionally has you go through a dungeon and do some fights. So I think that might be better to watch than something like World of Warcraft, where you're sitting there, killing boar for, 30 hours straight or something, like the South Park meme. It's not that bad. I think modern WoW actually is a little bit more story driven, but in Burning Crusade it was, the leveling experience as a healer was me just literally running through this dungeon 15 times in a row to get a level, right? And it's at a certain point I don't even need the drops anymore, and it's just kind of routine. It's not as challenging, so a lot of it is just kind of repetitive and grindy, so that it just doesn't always make for the best viewing experience. If you like to come in and just chat and hang out, we can always do that. I can talk anytime, anywhere, about, anything just about that you guys want to talk about. But the nature of the game, MMOs in general, I think is rough. But 1 stream per week to do the raids, at least while they're fresh and new, maybe. Another thing is it requires a lot of knowledge to appreciate what you're actually watching. When you're watching a raid, right? There's all these spell effects going off, there's all these numbers everywhere, but it's hard to contextualize that and really understand what's challenging, what's the what are you going for here? And I try to explain it as much as I can while I'm watching it, but it's one of those things that's difficult to comprehend and appreciate unless you play the game and get into it. So versus with League, yeah, everyone has spells, but there's stuff that happens a lot where you're oh, that was a good play, right? Someone dodges a skill shot. You understand that. It's a big rocket. Someone did a dash and got around it. Okay, that's cool. That's a moment of excitement. Or somebody just killed everybody, or somebody just killed someone else in one shot. It's oh my gosh, wow. That was awesome, you can see that. You can understand it. It's visually clear I think, a lot of times. But in a raid where you're watching someone kill this boss for, 18 minutes, and there's just all these different spell effects going off, sometimes it's hard to really, like, get it, right? As much. At least that's my theory on it. It's grindy, and it's difficult to understand if you don't play it. But the story's good, and I think that there might be some people willing to watch it. And I'll do my best that I can to explain sort of what's going on and what the stakes are. So I think it can be interesting, but it remains to be seen. Historically, I think MMOs are much more difficult to watch and to give content for, because they're most of the time not PvP, unless you specifically do the PvP, which is not that great in Final Fantasy XIV, I hear. It's just kind of single player grindy type of stuff, versus League and Magic are PvP, and then Total War. I don't know. Total War just has its own sort of cult following, especially Total War Warhammer. It's really fun. The campaigns are different every time. There's just lots of random variables, that can happen that keep the campaigns fresh and interesting every time you play them. No two campaigns play out the same way every time, which I think gives it a ton of replayability. And which in turn gives it a lot of reviewability, right? Where it's like, okay, I've already seen an Ikit Claw campaign, but this one might be different, right? There might be different politics that go on. There might be different kinds of battle situations that go on. You could try out different builds. So, anyways, I don't want this video to be too long. I just want to give you a really quick update on what's going on. So this is kind of the new lineup, what we're going to be doing. Magic is going to be the newest sort of kid on the block I'm going to be trying out over the next couple of weeks. Then we've got just consistent League content. I'm going to do more, like I said, video per day type of content. Total War, we're finishing the Dwarves, we're finishing the Skaven, and then we're adding on Isabella starting tomorrow. And then we will definitely do some more campaigns after that. I don't think I have any more donations in the queue, but I'll have to check it out and see. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the content, or in the comments. What would you guys like to see? Are there some cool ideas you think that, might be able to work on the channel as far as these games are concerned, that you've seen other content creators do that you'd like to see me try out? But anyways, thanks. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.